Shadow Demon's one of the weird ones where you could probably actually see that rushed, considering that Shadow Demons don't tend to need too much. I mean, you might want Glimmer Cape Force Staff first early on, but we do tend to see Shadow Demons as 4 rather than 5.
Ooh.
And I think in that situation, you have more leeway to get that farm up. Still, Fnatic, they dip into the DK here. Could be off for Masaros. It's still an option on hand as well, but could also easily be our Moon Hero. This DK has tapered off in the past few months. Haven't really seen too much, but if you recall, the early half of this year or midway through this year, we were seeing a lot of DKs rushing into the Ags, being a powerhouse or just Ags Blink. It is still a scary force. It gives you stable push here for Fnatic. Trying to recall if the shard was anything major. It didn't really strike me when I was going through this one. Let's see, Dragon Knight shard. It's the Fireball, so it's basically the ancient ability. Right, the Black Dragon ability on a bigger scale, really nice for wave clearing, but probably not something you rush. But still a stable hero to have. And Fnatic do keep a color scheme here, Mike. It's all red so far.
Is it, John? I mean, I feel like you always push this a little bit. I mean, it's
Clock
red.
is reddish. Clock is reddish. It could pass. Could pass.
All right.
He's a pass to me.
All right, I'll give it to you, John. If they choose another red hero, then I'll go with it. But
It's gone. Yeah.
yeah. T1, 45 seconds reserve time left. They've got a very dark theme going, as you would probably say, John. Hell, I could make the PA look purple if I wanted to. You know, it's just, who cares, as long as I say it. There's a Treant Protector coming out now. So, Treant is another hero we don't get to see very often, but it is quite potent. Obviously very good into the DK as well. Because as a DK, you want to pop Dragon Form, you want to push down a tower, maybe you get through, maybe halfway through the tower. But now you've got this Treant who's going to pop Living Armor on the tower over and over again. And unless you have your full team kind of committed to forcing down those towers, the DK probably is not going to be able to do it himself. However, Fnatic do pick up a Spectre. And some things never change. Spectre is still quite strong.
It is. Dispersion scaling has been sort of buffed up, but the highest end of its dispersion is now 20% from 22, so it's not as amazing. Early Spectral Dagger as well is not as good. Mana cost has bumped up initially, so it's 130 at level 1. Still scales into 160, but the cooldown has increased to 22 base, scaling down back to 16. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Overall, I don't think itemization is going to change. You should still expect a Blade Mail build, which is nice against a PA, to be fair. Right, PA is one here that Dispersion and Blade Mail is actually going to hurt in a big way. So Jackie's got to watch out for himself. So far, T1 don't have a natural breaker here. So the Spectre's got a lot of room and just kind of being a menace with the passives. In fact, that's the Spectre and the DK having that leeway. You also have the Spectre Phoenix coming out with a healing on the Sunray. So it's overall very stable for Fnatic. They don't have the best in terms of overall like wide AoE control. They do have the egg for sort of area denial. Maybe if you follow up with your Clock and DK in a good form, you can sort of match it up. But it doesn't compare to Crush, Dispersion into Crush, with the Overgrowth as well from Treant, which now interrupts again. So I think when it comes down to a 5v5, Fnatic's got to temper how they go in and really time themselves with how Raven pops that haunt on the Spectre.
Final banouts, we do see the Puck and Mars being removed. Fnatic, they are the ones to pick up their last pick. And I do believe we are waiting for, excuse me, a Masaros hero. Or maybe not, they bring out the Snapfire. So perhaps DK off. They run the Snapfire mid. And the Spectre safe lane, of course. It could still be the DK mid and the Snapfire off, but I'd say that's kind of less popular. And, with T1, they'll be kind of forced to make their own decision now. They are lacking a mid lane here for Carl. I wonder what they want to see. They don't have the option for the Batrider again, so you can't go back down that route. He doesn't have the Ember either, which we've seen Carl play a lot of. Does tend to enjoy playing that Ember Spirit, but not this game either. Could try for the Storm if you really want. Could be considered a little bit greedy, but I don't know, maybe you want something with a bit more team fight. You know, maybe a Kunkka comes out here.
Would tie really nicely with the healing you have on the Treant and the Overgrowth as well. So if you were looking for team fight domination, that's one way to do it, the Kunkka. Not too much time left. Could be a Cuckoo last pick and flex a slaughter mid. They go into Doom, which is one way to get their own lockdown in, get some good control out. So it is the Snapfire for Moon. Looks like we have the DK for Masteros in the off lane. I have to say I'm a bit iffier on core Snap now, mainly because your Ag's timing is pretty... It's gone. It's gone. They fixed the big issue, and this is what I talked about, right? With base damage at 400 with a burn, just led to 700 total damage. Now that it scales with your Kisses levels, the raw DPS output of the Ags is dropped down. You're not deleting heroes. You'll need to put in a little bit more work. And if you're clever about it, you might be able to run out now if you do have to face off against that. So it would be interesting to see what Moon prioritizes. The Ags is still strong, but it's not an instant delete button early. I think that's something Fnatic's going to have to realize. But you got some value changes as well on little shredder costs. So you do have some leeway there. Of course, you've got the Snap Clockwork combo coming through. So hookshot in with the Kisses flying out is fairly potent. And you don't have an easy way for T1 to break that off from the back. No reach at all. In fact, no naturally highly mobile hero here beyond the PA for T1. So we're going to have to see if they can hit their blink timings here on Cuckoo and Carl. Maybe even Whitemond's going to need a blink here just to get him in a good spot to get overgrowth. But I have to say, Whitemond's got a pretty interesting treant set. That's a spooky one to have, eh?
It definitely is, John. It's like kind of like Deadwood, right? Just a dead tree. Very, very upsetting stuff.
Yeah, he looks burnt out as well, doesn't he? Like just a charred corpse of a tree.
Yeah.
Unless that's like a texture bug. I can't tell anymore.
It's a feature, John. We don't do bugs in Dota. Or just features.
Yeah, that's fair. Like stacking was a bug turned into a feature, right?
True. That is very
that's
true.
That's a carryover from the engine. So
that is something people
that's just how we
forget.
roll.
That is something actually people forget, that you weren't meant to be able to stack jungle creeps. It was a bug, and they were like, you know what? It's a cool feature. Let's just keep it. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's really nice, and of course you see it used so much now. Like in the most recent games, you've had the nerf, the bonus stack gold. Of course, that was something that was added, what, in 7.0 when you got gold from stacking for your support? Or, I don't know, it feels like forever now, but that was also just sort of recently hammered in. Still, values are lower, so you don't see support scale as much, but we'll see what happens here. Some good moods from both sides. The good looks fly out. Whitemond's not in a position to whack the Roche, though, so I'm already disappointed here.
We saw how it worked out in Game 1, John. They did pull off the victory, and Whitemon is definitely playing with fire by not hitting this Roshan. Maybe there's just a pattern to it. Of course, we haven't figured out why he does it yet, John. He just sometimes does it. Generally speaking, I don't know what the win rate is on when he does do it, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say that he wins more than he loses once he's done it. So it just sounds better for the story if I say that, John. It doesn't sound very good if he doesn't win when he hits the Roshan.
He does tend to win when he does that, so we'll see if taking this gambit of not hitting the Roche before the Horn is going to pay off. Maybe Zephyr will do it for us. Nah, he doesn't. So just taking a risk here, but it looks like they will just get even bounty runes. No excitement over that scuffle. We'll have to see how, these lanes will unfold. It looks like we're going to have a steady lane up top. It's the Slardar played by Cuckoo. He's going to have Zephyr, and that pause for Shadow Demon around. So you've got that disruption set up into the double stun with Slithering Crush and Bash from Deep if you do manage to pump it up. Very scary lane once you hit level 2, level 3 on these two heroes. You're going to have to watch yourself. DJ on his clock and Raven on that Spectre will sort of have to watch their spacing. DJ can sort of be disruptive, but disruption itself is going to take away the potency of his battery assault. So just not going to be as good in isolating heroes because those clones can cop the damage instead.
It's a very, very tough lane here for this clock. I mean, once you put the cogs up, it can be a bit easier, right? Because you have the cogs, you can kind of push the enemy away a little bit, and that might allow you to save Raven if he does get disrupted. But overall, it's a very ugly laning situation here for DJ. I'm very curious to see how he does deal with it. Of course, over to the mid lane, we do see Moon up against Carl. Moon last time around did dominate the lane, but did end up losing the game. This time around, up against the Doom, it can be argued that it is much harder to win the lane outright, as well, the Doom doesn't really lose lanes because of Devour. So there should be a much more even kind of matchup between these two. I'm curious to see what kind of itemization Moon goes for, but I assume he will probably opt for the Axe Rush, as we are used to seeing, even with the nerfs that did come out recently. Only time will tell, though, I suppose.
Yeah, still should be a rather even time here. I think the main focus for Carl is just going to be in maximizing his Devour.
DJ, top lane, is definitely dead. Zephyr will be the one to take the kill. Raven is going to try and dish out some damage back to Cuckoo. He does get quite a bit off, but they're going to be very happy with that first blood. While that was happening down at bot lane, Jabs got very, very low. Was able to just get himself out of there. Oh, I say that Jackie's jumped back in. Doesn't have the damage output. Does at least force the Icarus dive out from Jabs, and it looks like Jabs is just going to make the run back towards the fountain.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent start for T1 overall. Their side lanes are going really well. Jackie's finding some steady farm despite being in DK lane. So you don't really see Masters being able to leverage this Breed Fire spam as much as you'd expect. It's not as annoying if you don't get that landing. So Jackie just gets to farm up freely, which is not necessarily what you want. They did cut the tree line though, so they're not expecting Whitemon to get some space out without the trees to play with, but you're still not stopping Jackie's farm, which is the bare minimum T1 wants out of this lane anyway.
I agree. Looking back out of mid, as expected, very, very even between these two. Nothing to really see here. I mean, props to Moon though, he's getting a lot of denies off on this Snapfire. He's going to be careful though, he's taking a fair bit of damage out from Carl, and of course Carl with that ice armor now is not going to feel too threatened here by Moon. As you can just see, he's taking literally no damage. He's able to just walk away, and Moon can't really auto-attack this this Doom up. He'll go back in for the range creep as well.
Ooh. It's always kind of saddening when you see someone expend, like, say, the Scatter Blast, get the Knight in their face still. I mean, it's not... I mean, he's still fine with farm, but overall, Carl's just keeping check really well. We are going to hit those 4-minute power runes coming out soon. Neither supports are really in a good spot, although you do see Whitemon start running up. And they do have some better wards coming out here on the side of T1 as well.
Jabs and Whitemon trading, and so was Zephyr and DJ, but DJ blocks the path there with the cogs. Unfortunately for Fnatic though, Carl is still going to get very lucky, and he's going to get the bot power rune for himself on the Doom. Even after all that kind of setting up for the power rune, it just doesn't work out Fnatic's way. That's luck of the draw, I suppose. It's Moon. He's trying to get a lot of damage out on Carl, but he just won't die with this Devour passive regen on top. Suppose it's a very quiet game, though, between these two.
Yeah, I mean, they're just building up in their lanes, trying to play it steady. You've got these two cores that take some time to be online. Raven is not having as free of a time as Jackie, but it doesn't need to. Cuckoo.
Yeah, Cuckoo's in trouble, but Zephyr's going to be there with the disruption. Even without that disruption, I'm not sure it would have been enough damage output on Cuckoo anyway. But it's, you just can't really hope for many kills up this top lane. Still DJ forcing back the Slaughter. Zephyr does manage to take away the bounty, but it may have cost him his own life. He's going to make a run. The battery sold is there, though, from DJ. And that'll mean that Zephyr is indeed going to die. And eventually DJ is going to make the rotation into the Radiant Triangle. He does manage to take the bounty rune back the way of Fnatic.
Yep, just ends up being even on the bounties, but they do get a nice pickup here for Fnatic. DJ definitely wanting those kills on the pause 5 clock to enable him to get some levels in, maybe help him progress towards his level 6 as well. Not really finding an opportunity mid. Carl's already at 6, has the Doom ready, so any sort of rotation could be costly if you don't get enough damage out. They are just going to probably camp around until the 6-minute mark once more to help Moon secure some of those power runes, and you really want to get them up because Moon does have a bottle, so he's just wanting those refills up ASAP.
That he does. He's going to find that one, but Carl is going to commit a Doom straight off the bat. Whitemon is going to be there as well with the vines out. Jabs, however, nice body blocks to make sure they can't keep up, but they are still dishing out some damage. With that Scorched Earth out, it won't be quite enough now. Moon, after that initial Doom, will look to turn back around. They're looking down Whitemon on that Treant. They'll spot him out, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to keep up. And nothing comes out of it. I suppose for Fnatic, you did get Doom wasted, so it's going to feel nice. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I'd say you don't care too much for your T1. Looks like they're not going to leave that lane. Anyway, up top, though, they rotate out with the kisses.
They do. Cuckoo, actually very low, but not low enough to die. Survives on about 40 HP through those kisses, and well, he has some tangos. He has a double braces up, so he could really just wait for the passive regen, but he's not going to bother. He will just make the way back down towards the fountain, and of course, it wouldn't be Cuckoo if he didn't give the tip over to the Snapfire, who did miss out on the kill.
And the laughs come out as well. T1, they're not too annoyed by that. They know that Moon needs to find these kills for the kisses. Your core snap again is still fairly tied into the Ag's timing, but when you reveal it before any sort of magic damage mitigation comes into play, the Moon needs that timing up. He's trying to clear the jungle by himself as well. This does take some farm away from Raven, so you're also stalling out your Spectre's timings. And speaking of Raven, his last hits have really lagged behind. In fact, all the cores on the side of Fnatic have dropped off, although they are jumping Carl.
They are. Carl, he's getting low. Disruption is going to be out onto Jabs, and Zephyr is doing a great job thus far. They just aren't able to get kills on anyone because Zephyr is always getting disruptions off. And that's going to be another kind of opportunity that just kind of goes down the toilet there for Fnatic. So they weren't able to secure this big Doom kill that they wanted. I suppose on the brighter side, it is buying a bit of space here for Raven, but you also run into that same problem we had last game for Fnatic, where Jackie is still having a very, very free time. And by the way, John Masteros, he is trying to push down the, Meteor Hammer Dragon Knight.
Yeah, I believe Masteros has done this a couple of times in the past 2 days as well. So he's just going for that fast push strat. Does melt towers quick. Makes it hard to defend, but it's not going to be helping you in controlling Jackie. He does go away, but if they find his objective, it could be worthwhile.
Well, they are eventually going to get it. Whitemon, he has some help coming in. No points in the living armor right now. Cogs are going to be out from DJ to push him back, but another Meteor Hammer should take care of that Tier 1 tower. And it looks like this side of T1, well, they're going to get a deny off at least. But DJ is going to be fine to get out of there. And everyone else from Fnatic is also going to successfully just back out. And I suppose, yeah, you'd probably say that is a very successful kind of time here for Fnatic. So T1, they get nothing out of that bot lane.
You can't really stop a DK once he has this Meteor Hammer in. Just solo pushing the lane. So Masaros has given himself a spot to play with. And there are some good wards here from T1 to watch any movement in jungle though. But this response is buying some space out for Raven, as you mentioned. He's still playing that jungle. T1 are just not contesting, as we have seen before. They do tend to play a bit faster. They want to hunt in jungle, but right now they're just trading evenly in farm. So RPA still is slightly ahead, but you do have an earlier Blade Mail for Raven, so his farm acceleration is slightly faster now. Not going to be enough to close the gap, and even with the Blade Mail, the farm is there. It's just, it doesn't feel as amazingly fast as you'd want it. He misses the stack as well, so just a slight point off for the efficiency there.
Absolutely. Still trying to get the job done. So they are slowly starting to set up here, T1, to go after this top Tier 1 tower.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Jabs is going to be there to try and defend this as the Phoenix. Well, Fnatic, they've smoked up, and they're going to rotate through their own jungle, back up towards the top lane. But yeah, the scan does come out. T1 going to successfully back off. In fact, they'll go for a counter smoke now.
There is little hope for Radiant's middle.
I don't think Jackie should really come along though, right? Like he's got a lane to farm. He's getting very close to that Battle Fury timing. So he doesn't really need to try and join his team to fight right now. And quite frankly, they don't really need him. So they are going to spot out DJ. Smoke will break. DJ is going to get the rocket flare out, and Carl is not going to be able to keep up with the clockwork. They are both going to be fine. So hook shot is back in from DJ onto Whitemon. Gets the Nature's Grasp out into the leech seed, but Whitemon is taking a fair bit of damage and he will go down. Now Jabs in with the Icarus dive and the egg. Mortimer's kisses to fly in and the Haunt being committed. They want so much out of this. They are going to be able to stun up Cuckoo and they will get the Slaughter into Zephyr now on the Shadow Demon. He was on the side of the Roshan pit and he will be the third to die. Fnatic, a very, very nice team fight for them.
Yep, really good, successful first haunt as well. And this is going to open up a bit of a push on that mid-tier 1. Masaros once more with a Meteor Hammer, just going for the objectives, going for the safe play. And if they find a steady pace here, it could be hard for T1 to get that space out. But they've turned the numbers out. Whitemon with the levels up on the Living Armor is enough to slow down the push. And Fnatic knows better than to keep forcing their bodies out while their ults are down. So they're just going to have to wait for a bit of a reset, start going in again. Those kills are pretty darn big though, and it is keeping Fnatic close in terms of net worth, but you still see Jackie and Carl taking the lead here. Carl especially with his Midas buildup just means that our Doom is set to keep building up farm. The Blink Dagger, once that's up on Carl, does mean they've got instant Dooms available, or at least easier to access Dooms, and that is the big one. We talked about T1 lacking that easy initiation without any highly mobile heroes, so the blink timing on Carl and Cuckoo are just key to the lineup to start finding some pickoffs of your own.
He's Raven got very low on that jungle. Thought we might miss a kill there, but not quite. Everything's fine. The top tier 1 eventually going to be taken out. Jab's still around to try and defend. He's going to go for an Icarus dive away, and of course you can just Sunray off the map. No problem. As far as Phoenix goes, that's probably never going to be fixed. It's a feature now. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah, it's working as intended. Of course, again, Mike, it's never a bug in Dota 2. It's always a feature, unless it's fountain hooking. Then that's a bug.
That's a bug.
I miss that. I miss it.
Oh, Jackie could be in big trouble, but no, what a backstep!
That wasn't even on purpose.
No, it wasn't.
Just done with a camp.
That was just dumb luck from Jackie. Complete luck out, and poor DJ, he just walks off like, I can't believe this guy just had to click backwards one time when I went for a hook.
Could bite them in the bum as well with no hook, but they're not going to go for the offensive. T1, a lot more reeled in of a game for them, just really defensive. They've got this Blink and Carl now, though. Once it flies in, we might see Carl opt to do something with his Blink Doom available.
Well, you'd imagine he does it ASAP. Battle Fury also coming out now on the PA, so Jackie's going to skyrocket and farm again. Raven, of course, is very, very dead set on just making sure that he keeps the farm up. Doing a great job of it, just in the Ancients, just in this triangle, just continuing with this farm. However, down at the bot lane, they have smoked up and Carl does commit that Doom straight away. Now with the overgrowth out, that means that Moon is set to die. Can they get a deny off on him? Masaros won't even try for it. He'll try to run himself, but now a Haunt comes out. Perhaps in the mid lane, it looks like they have caught out Cuckoo, but he's on the river. He can easily just try and run away. Icarus dive and egg is going to be committed by Jabs, but that egg might just be set to die unless he can get it off in time, but he cannot. It's always the biggest bait trying to chase a Slaughter on the river. It just never works out in the other team's favor.
No, it's not something you should opt for. All of a sudden, T1 have a 4K lead on their end, 4-4. You've got the Battle Fury up on Jackie, so he is just set to escalate. Fnatic, they had the right idea while go roaming in. They need to keep trying. Just, maybe wait for the next haunt. If not, then just move as 4. Look for Jackie, because you are not winning this farm war with a Spectre. Like, the Blade Mail might be there. It might simplify the process of clearing out these camps. It is in no way the same as a PA Battle Fury did. So, if you want to play this farming game, you have to be aware of that. Masaros as well. I mean, he's still trying with a Meteor Hammer, but with the heals coming out now on the Living Armor, it's just kind of cancelled off now.
They're going to still give it a crack. Nature's Grasp is there onto the creeps. Zephyr, the Shadow Poison, really going to just delete this creep wave, but Masaros is not done yet. He continues. Cuckoo, however, now going to TP in. can just frontline for the team. They'll stun him up with a cookie yard and a meteor hammer and a hook shot and a sun ray being thrown out. Cuckoo's comp and everything, but disruption is going to be there. The kiss is still going, however. They will finally take him down, but they might lose DJ in response. He's gone to the purge damage. Zephyr getting a little bit greedy moving forward, but it won't matter. They still get the kill, and the tier 1 tower will remain standing. As Moon does come back for a cheeky little cookie. It won't work out. They'll heal it back up. By the way, John, did you point out Ethereal Blade on Moon?
Dire's top tower
Oh, wait,
is
really?
under attack.
Yeah.
Huh.
Ethereal Blade.
Okay. I mean, Scatter Blast is pretty good damage. I
you seen
guess
the
you
shards?
can amp that up. Yeah.
It
yeah.
does even more damage when you get the shards, John, and it stuns for
Ooh.
1.5 seconds.
Oh, that's gonna be dank. Let's see if he does actually opt for charge. You'd reckon so. All right, so that
Of
I
course.
suppose that's one way to play it. We'll see if it works out the way he expects it to. You are giving Jackie again this free farm. His Desolator is almost done, and then it's straight into the BKB. So once you have that BKB, this timing is not gonna be as amazing as you'd reckon it is. So we'll see if Moon's reveal is gonna be in a big way. So you have to appreciate this classic Treant game, you know, just constantly healing that mid-tier 1, and the enemy keeps bashing their heads against it. The Fnatic have tried, what, 2-3 times now? Just not working out. They do have a Blink coming out in Masaros as well, so they have some initiation here.
It's like the perfect hero for Whitemon, because you can imagine him laughing the whole time. As he's just spamming living armor on this this tower, just laughing manically at the fact that they're never going to get through it. Moon has to cookie up the high ground, but he's been purged up. This will force the rotation out from Jabs. Now DJ going for a quick hook shot in onto Cuckoo. They'd love the Slanner dead, and with the Haunt in, they should be able to get him. Even committing the Mortimer's Kisses, they might even get Whitemon, that pesky tree and protector, trying to run, but he is going to die. Raven able to pick that kill up, and maybe now they can commit for this tier 1 mid tower.
Oh, Masaros?
Masaros jumping in, has found Zephyr with the Meteor Hammer to drop. They find another. Fnatic getting a 3-for-0 trade, and the tier 1 mid is going to feel very good for them.
They do take it out. It does take them 18.5 minutes, but they find some big kills as well. Good amount of gold going the way of Fnatic. I don't think T1 minds too much. They've managed to keep it alive long enough. They are also at the point where I believe the Desolator of Jackie's already up.
It is.
So Battle Fury with Deso at 18, 19 minutes in. Gonna be big, although.
Oh, he gets it at the right time, but Masaros is going to be there with the stun out. They've got so much damage there. Jackie's still going to be able to just pounce away. Moon did not have the damage output. DJ's going to hook shot in, but Jackie just won't die. He'll jump back in. They take down Moon. Now the stun out. Who have they found there? It's going to be Masaros on the DK, and Jackie will take the kill. And usually a very quiet Jackie makes the nightmare noises, John. And that is going to be a bit of a nightmare for Fnatic, as they committed so much. They got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter.
Oh, Mike, what? You are feeling very lyrical tonight, Mike.
Well,
Still,
we can't play the songs on Twitch right now, John. I've got to do something to entertain the viewers.
Still, they're going into the Roshan. This is when it gets ridiculous. Curse of Haze with Desolator. You can't stop that.
No, you can't. On to Jabs. Jabs going to go for an Icarus dive away into the Sun Ray. Jackie, meanwhile, kills DJ somehow. The Egg's going to be forced out, but this is a bit disastrous. Does he even get there in time? It looks like he just may. Jabs, he gets the Egg off. Carl, he committed a BKB for this. That may be a real problem for him, as now he just has to keep running on towards Fnatic, but it won't matter because they control him up. They'll take him out, and that actually ends up being a really nice play from Jabs.
Yeah, it pays off in a big way. A good gold swing out for Fnatic, so they are very happy with that pickup. They also waste the fresh BKB. Carl not going to be very pleased with himself. They get the transition to push up top, but they're ready for the defense.
Yeah, they're going after Moon. They got the main target there. Still, Overgrowth's going to come out as well. Here comes Jackie on the PA, but Moon has gone into that ghost form, or has he? Jackie just jumps in and takes him out. On to Masaros, this DK. He looks tanky, but he really is not that tanky. Not when you have that much minus armor there from Jackie and Cuckoo. And those are two core pickoffs. A 9k net worth lead now for T1. And the Ethereal Blade from Moon, I mean, it's a good concept, but so far it's not really working out in his favor.
No. It's really not. The issue is, I guess the primary stat gain of Moon isn't that amazing as well. I mean, it's 3.3 per level, but it's not like he stacks strength, and it's not like you're a Morphling where you can just stat dump the rest of your stats in. So the burst damage isn't looking good yet. He has to close the gap in order to really maximize his scatter blast. He is not rushing the Ag shard as well. So he is going for a blink, more of a utility initiation tool, just to get himself in the right spot. T1, despite those couple of trades here and there, have really overtaken. Jackie's back at that ridiculous point. 14k net worth. Raven's not even close at 9.9. BKB's up, so he doesn't even need to worry about the magic damage. And they smoke up.
Yeah, this is very problematic now. Fnatic, DJ going to run into the smoke, but he's going to have to pay for it for the team. He'll tank the gank. Some more jabs. Going to hide in the tree line for now, and he is going to be safe.
Raven.
Yeah, Raven will be a big one. He is going to back off at the exact right time. But the tier 2 mid tower cannot back off, John. It has to stand its ground. With this Desolator up on Jackie, it really is not going to take too long if they do commit. T1, they're just kind of running in circles, trying to find a target to go on. Jackie says, that's not creeps I'm hitting, that's a tower. They're back for the creeps now.
Yeah. I mean, why not? They've got a lot of time left. Under Aegis, about 2 minutes to go, so they can take their time here. Just get some farm going. They do have Jackie really accelerating towards this Basher to good form. So once you have that, I think you're going to be worried about even less on his PA. And
oh, they jumped in. Masteros in with the stun. Meteor Hammer is going to be cancelled. No, it's not. It's going to drop. Jackie, however, going after Moon, is by himself right now. His BKB is set to wear off soon. DJ, meanwhile, going to hook shot in onto Cuckoo on that Slardar. He's a bit of a sitting duck. They'll just surround him and take him out. Meanwhile, Masteros, he was trying to go for a bit more, but he could not find a target. And one thing's for sure, John, every time Raven does get involved in these team fights for Fnatic, it does seem to work out in their favor. So perhaps that's kind of the idea here, is just waiting out the Spectre until Raven is ready to go.
yeah, every time they've got the haunt, usually ends in a pretty good success story. Issue for T1 is Jackie's just kind of running around a bit, like a headless chicken. Like he was trying to rush up into a fight by himself with no real vision into the jungle, so there was an access point for Fnatic to sneak into. You've got to be a bit careful about that on the PA, even with the BKB. Your damage at, well, I was going to say it's not amazing at level 20, but it is actually rather amazing. You just need more items up. So some patience for Jackie is called for. Fnatic with these couple of kills are feeling nice, but they're still 10k behind. So there's still a considerable gap to close out here. And T1, for their part, they're running out of time on that Aegis. Just about half a minute left. So it looks like they might not just find anything, just opt to use it for farming. It has secured Jackie a good timing into the Basher. He's, what, 500 gold away from that. So your PA is going to have really good item timings overall anyway. And that's still going to be an issue for Fnatic regardless.
That it is. T1, they're going to go for another smoke up. Jackie's not with them this time around. It's only a 4-man smoke, and they're going to run into Moon. Scan out, they know exactly where they are. Maybe they're going to the back lines here. Cuckoo just on the river. Fnatic just holding the high ground, knowing they could come from any moment or any way. The bounty will be taken. Cuckoo is going to back out straight afterwards. Seems like that's all they wanted to get the bounty rune advantage. Carl will be able to get the other ones up at the top lane. Speaking of Carl as well, John, once he has that Ags up, it's going to be a lot harder for Masteros and Raven to survive. The damage output is kind of insane once you have that Aghanim Scepter Infernal Blade.
No, it's the Doom now. It's back to applying break and reduces the CD. So,
oh, right.
Yeah, it's down to 100-second cooldown, and of course the break is still going to be issues here for Masteros and for Raven. It's the Shard now that has this nice little upgrade for his Thingamabob for his Infernal Blade. We'll see if he picks it up, but 100-second cooldown on
right.
Doom, that is pretty nice.
They put the whole level death thing in as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love
Which
to
is
see
pretty
it.
dank.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's back. I missed that. Level that. No one,
For any of the young kids out there, John, we actually had to do math when we played
Oh,
Doom
yeah.
back in Dota 1.
Honestly, I never even cared about it. It's like, all right, I'll just throw it out. If it does damage, that's awesome. If not, I'm just an idiot anyway.
I
You
was
know,
I was very good with my times tables, John. Very, very good. Jackie, Masaros gets the jump in on the PA first. Meanwhile, to the north, Cuckoo trying to spot out a target. It looks like they do really want that DK first. Carl still rushing in with the Doom, but Jackie jumps in and just shreds the DK apart. Raven is going to just haunt in. Back after Zephyr. Zephyr's fine so far. A massive Mortimer's Kiss is coming in, but they've lost DJ. Raven trying to chase down Carl, but he has a BKB up, and he's going to be just fine. They bought back on Masaros for this. It does not really pan out, however. It's still a 2-for-1. They only found the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, it's not enough to compensate for that. One big issue there was, as well as that was T1 forcing a fight without using Doom. So Carl, with his Ags upgrade, just very cautious with his spell use. Doesn't even drop it to get that win. They don't find the big heroes, but the ults are down. It could be T1's time to circle back in if they wanted to. Looks like they might just wait for the Roche respawn timer to reset, but they are taking control of that river. They've got a good ward spot in this movement too.
Oh, Masaros doesn't want to die back like this, but the Corrosive Haze is going to come out. They are a bit preemptive in their jump, just thinking about it. Very cautious stuff. So they just kind of oh, that's a quick Roshan. They forced them back, and Roshan is a 7-second timer. And Whitemon, he feels it in his bones, or maybe
no,
he doesn't.
Whitemon, go back in.
No.
Go back in. Your friend's there. Oh, they find it first with a flare.
Oh, DJ finds it. However, Raven has been caught. There's your Aghanim Scepter on Carl as well, so the break has been applied. This Raven is getting low, but the Sunray going to help, and DJ with the hook shot in is going to make it so they can't finish off the kill. DJ is going to die for his trouble, but it won't matter if Raven does survive, and he does. Great news out for Fnatic. But I don't think T1's necessarily done yet. I believe they still want to go.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Overgrowth back up. They might not have Doom, but they've seen that they can win fights without Doom anyway. So they could go hunting. Unfortunately, again, they could easily just go for the Roche that they're not aware is up. They might circle around there instead. They still have this 15k lead. And Fnatic, their investment in Raven here is really... It's just not looking great. He's right behind Carl and Jackie, but that's not where you want to be as a Spectre. So a lot more time needed here. And they do... No, they still haven't gotten into the Roche, and Fnatic keeps checking.
Fnatic, Masaros going to break his smoke, does jump in anyway with the Dragon form. Jackie still around, going to make the jump into the back lines. He goes straight after the clockwork and gets one. That's DJ gone. Jackie popped his BKB for this, but is not going to rush in for more, not quite yet anyway. Masaros, however, Corrosive Haze is there, and now the dagger flies in. The damage output is just way too high from this PA. Jackie's feeling it right now. I feel like he can sense the advantage they have. 16k ahead on T1. And you can see the hesitation from Raven. He knows that he's just not ready to go for these big team fights. I mean, he's literally 7k behind the PA. It is a very, very tough time for Fnatic.
It definitely is. At the least, they've got DJ back up if he wants to get in position. But it's just
Hauntin, he wants to try and go for that Aegis. However, Jackie, no one picking it up yet. Jackie, he does get it in the nick of time. Both of them just stacking on top of the Aegis. Now Jackie going to jump onto the backlines into Moon. Cuckoo not getting the stun off onto Raven. Jabs, Sunray there onto Zephyr. Zephyr disrupts himself up. Jackie's coming for that Phoenix, but Jab's still alive, not being spotted yet. Now the Cookie takes out Zephyr, but they are going to lose the Phoenix in response. Do they want to jump back in? Cuckoo is playing around here on the river, but Jackie jumps straight into the Cox, onto DJ. There's your Overgrowth out. The Blade Mail is going to wear off on Raven. He's been left behind. He'll Spectral Dagger and just run away. They get the Corrosive Haze off, so Jackie, he can jump back in, and he will. No crits out yet. Masaros gets a stun off into the Meteor Hammer. Jackie stunned up. Cuckoo, he wants to keep going. Masaros is just going to melt. He'll cop the crit from the PA, and Raven is not safe yet. He's in the tree line, but the Corrosive Haze is going to give vision. He's on an ultra kill. Now out onto Moon. They want the Rampage, but Moon is going to deny it away. He'll blink into the tree line. But this PA, it's hitting a bit too hard, John. It's looking really tough for Fnatic.
This is why you ban out the Slardar and the PA as a combination, but you just can't afford to ban out both in the opening. And T1, feeling confident, just hammering it in, gets this combination, is on a roll. I mean, Jackie right now is 13-0. 13-0 on PA. Just perfect game for him so far. Let's see if he can maintain it. Fnatic, it's really falling apart. They lost Raven in that fight. They need to play around Haunt every single time. They will have a Scotty up on Raven soon, so that is good news. But I don't think the Scotty alone is going to cut it. They need so much more, and I have to say, this build-up on Moon, it's not working out the same way you'd want. He is about to hit his level 20 talent, where this might pay off. I think you'd want to see Moon actually go for an MKB now.
Oh, I'd say Divine Rapier at this rate, John. It's
Yeah, that's fair.
Gonna run in, Masteros smoke broken, they spotted him out. Fnatic, they have to find the right kind of jump, but it's just so hard to find, and now another smoke gonna be broken on Cuckoo. Spots them out, meanwhile Jackie jumps in again onto DJ. Masteros in onto Jackie, but he just throws out one stun and backs out. Now the Doom out on Jabs, cancelling off the TP. Is gonna mean a secondary kill. They'd love to go after Masteros. He's going to go into the tree line, but Zephyr is not going to be able to hit that Shadow Strike in time. But how do you fight into them now? A 24k net worth lead for T1. It's just such a dominant game. And it's the same story as last game.
Yep, it's the same issue. You've left Jackie too long. He is just insane now. They did try to rotate a little bit more. It just never amounted to much. They've got the Scotty up on Raven. That could help them out, could help the cause, but it just doesn't feel enough by itself. They need a lot more to really control
that
Jackie.
Imperial Blade just does nothing.
No.
Jackie now just jumps back in and clears out Moon. My God. DJ gonna hook shot in. Moon's gonna buy back, but Raven, he's gone. Triple kill out for Jackie. He's unstoppable. Onto Masteros they go. Well, tips come out from Carl, and Masteros just has to run. But this game looks very, very over. And I hate calling it early, John, but it looks very, very over.
They don't have buyback on Raven. The E-Blade is just not doing anything on Moon. This itemization, if you really wanted to max this, I think you really needed the shards. Even then, like the Scatter Blast, it doesn't sound amazing even with a shard for this kind of...
How much minus armor are they doing right now? Because you've got an Orb Destruction there, as well as the Deso, as well as the Armor Corruption, as well as the Corrosive Haze. They're sitting there with like minus 40 armor.
Yeah, and the ACR. There's a ton.
Add it on.
Melt. Yep.
And it looks like T1, they haven't called yet on Fnatic. They're going to try one more time. Jackie seems to believe it is very over, and I would agree with that sentiment, but they are going to try. Carl is going to jump in with the Doom. Now your egg's gone. The dagger Moon just goes down to a dagger out from Jackie. And they hook shot in DJ, but the GG's been called. They don't want to get massacred like this. But Jackie, he has no remorse. He will take them out, and he'll finish the Ancient off. Well, well, well. T1 making it through to the lower bracket final to be up against TNC. And John, I'll tell you what, if they play like this tomorrow, TNC might be a little bit scared going into that lower bracket final, because that was quite a performance out from T1.
Oh yeah, that was perfect. Jackie, 20-0. 20-0.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was 20-0.
20-0. That speaks for itself, just how much T1's done. Amazing performance coming through. The confidence in just grabbing Slardar PA in the first phase and not getting countered. Fnatic had all the opportunities to maybe pick a counter in that first phase. Once they saw the Slardar, maybe they could have even stolen the PA themselves, but they don't manage to do that. They get punished for it, and there were moments where it looked good. Moon did go for a very fast E-Blade. His timing was super fast. It didn't work, and they're going to have to figure out the patch elsewhere, as that is the end of their journey here in the BTS Pro Series Season 4.
Well, I'll tell you what, John. Let's bring up the bracket just to remind everybody of what's happened during these playoffs. Just one moment, please. There we go. So the bracket's up, and now we are at the stage where TNC Predator versus T1 has to happen. Of course, after that, you do have your grand final. But TNC versus T1 is going to be the first matchup up tomorrow. Of course, winner of that will make it through to the grand final, where they'll verse Team Dog, who are just patiently waiting right now. And it should make for a hell of a grand final no matter who makes it. But just based off the last games we just saw, I tell you, if T1 gets the draft they want, TNC, I'm sure they've been watching, I'm sure they've done their homework, but I'm sure they'll also be taking their competitors very seriously in our first series tomorrow.
Oh, definitely. I'd say it's going to be a great set of matches overall, no matter who goes up to those grand finals. I personally kind of want to see the grudge match between Dog and T1. Because, of course, I mean, because the storyline of Dog was Cuckoo, Abed for 2 seasons, for 2 tournaments, and then they split up here. So if they do make it to the finals, that's a story in of itself. But TNC, of course, won't make that easy. We're going to have to see what they do pull off. It's been a fantastic set of games today.
I'd say so, John. Of course, with that, we are going to head off. We're going to get some sleep. And, of course, John, you're going to be very busy tomorrow. You're casting with Santa. So I'm sure you're very nervous. You've got to go prepare yourself. With that, it is MLP Dota. It is johnxfire. It's been a pleasure. And we'll be back to enjoy the grand finals and the lower bracket finals tomorrow. We'll see you all again in roughly 16 hours.